Uh-oh. Kash Patel and Donald Trump and the rest of MAGA have gotten themselves into quite a pickle because they dangled out this carrot. It feels very similar to the Epstein files stuff in terms of what they presented, what MAGA expected, and what they were given. So I'm going to show you these text messages from the FBI. I just want to say at the start, I am going to talk about the stuff that they're showing us, but I don't trust them. I don't trust the FBI. They're compromised, in my opinion. I hate saying that. I mean, maybe we should never trust the FBI anyways, but we should have a healthy skepticism of the FBI in the best set of circumstances, but I certainly do not trust Kash Patel's FBI. No, not one bit. So I don't believe I'm going to wait till the trial, because the trial, you got to present evidence, you got to back it up. And so then we'll know what happened then. Normally, actually, these things wouldn't have a trial, but because it's so high profile, they definitely want to go through and not, they don't want to do a deal or anything like that. So they're going to do a trial. That's a good thing, because we're going to get all the facts. But in the meantime, what Kash Patel and the FBI and everyone else are doing, they're trying to create a narrative to make this seem one way when it actually seems like it's kind of a complicated person who was needing some help and found it in the wrong places online in the depths of the internet. Okay, that aside, these text messages are out. They sound weird to me. They don't sound like they're written by someone who is extremely online. They don't sound like they're written by young adults. If you haven't seen the text, and by the way, MAGA is not buying the text, but if you haven't seen them, if you haven't heard them, because some of you watch, some of you listen, here is some of the text messages being read aloud.
When the roommate looked under the keyboard, there was a note that allegedly read, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it."
I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you.
You weren't the one who did it, right?
I am. I'm sorry.
I thought they caught the person.
No. They grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering.
Why?
Why did I do it?
Yeah.
I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it.
How long have you been planning this?
A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. EDEC if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about Prince. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find Prince. How the will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge ooh-woo on Fox New, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm gonna have to leave it. That really sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine IDK. I think that was a 2K scope. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me RN, not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty die-hard MAGA. I'm gonna turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love.
I'm much more worried about you.
Okay, so that to me does not sound like a young person. It does sound like a script. Now, there could be a couple reasons for that. One, the FBI could be cleaning up some of the language here. I don't know why they would do that. They could be doing that. There's a lot of ellipses in this text messaging, so maybe they're just showing the relevant parts for the case, and maybe if we could see all of it, it would sound more natural. Could also be that that the roommate and Robinson plan to write this to I don't know, to make the roommate seem innocent. That's a possibility. We don't know. We have to wait for the trial. MAGA likes to jump the gun. They just like to make assertions, okay, without evidence. Steve Bannon, Candace Owens, and many others are doing that. So here's Steve Bannon talking about the text messages and how he doesn't trust them.
We have to escalate, and it's not towards violence. Have you seen anybody in Charlie Kirk's arena? Have you seen anybody on the right go burn down anything, go threaten anybody? No, but we're going to get to the bottom and destroy this. He gave a talk to the CPI guys last night. That's Senator DeMint and Mark Meadows' kind of umbrella organization for conservatives, like conservative leaders. And I said, this is an inflection point, that those that have just been going along to get along have gotten us here because they haven't stood up. And now you see with what happened to Charlie Kirk. And as bad as it's presented in Utah, I'm not buying all of it. I'm particularly not buying those text messages. It just seems too stilted, too much like a script, actually a bad script. So we got to get to the bottom of it. You have to designate these groups. You heard Aaron Sabarium from Free Beacon. He's got this piece of.
Yeah. So Steve Bannon's not buying it. Candace Owens just alleges that they were fake. Here's someone in MAGA saying, starting to look like he could have gotten away with it cleanly if he hadn't left the rifle and if he hadn't said anything to anyone close to him. These videos and pictures are really blurry. So they're starting to kind of drum up some conspiracies around this. Here's Candace Owens saying that she thinks the U.S. government is doctoring the messages.
Yeah, these messages are clearly doctored, is what I would say. They're doctored. Now, they could decide why they're doing that. Tyler's being forthcoming. We're protecting him in some capacity. I find that to be unacceptable. Okay? Unacceptable. I want every single text message. I want timestamps. It is conspicuous that you are not telling us when this was sent, because it sounds like it's when the campus is on lockdown and he's got to go back and he's got to clean up. And then all of a sudden we're in the next day when his dad is getting clued in after the picture's been released. They're not telling us that. Okay. And you have a right to be a little bit uncomfortable about that, because I'm a lot of bit uncomfortable about that. We need full answers.
It sounds very Epstein-esque. And here's Matt Walsh saying, I am leaning very strongly towards the theory that this text exchange was scripted as a way to absolve the boyfriend. It's almost exactly what Walter White did at the end of Breaking Bad. This feels like a strategy they cooked up from watching too much TV. Someone else said, I see the FBI has taken to writing fan fiction. Young gay men talk to one another like this. Half of it is in cop speak, interrogated, squad car, retrieve it, swept that spot. And why does he address multiple loose ends in a combo with his significant other unprompted after expressing that he didn't want him involved? You're not good at this. And then someone else, they're just like, try not to be a conspiracy theorist, but I have a really hard time believing in a short text message exchange that alleges the shooter makes his confession, confirms the location of the weapon, blah, 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 blah. Not to mention, and this guy points out, 22-year-old terminally online Zoomer using online phrases like squad car. And then there is actually interesting things around the charging document. Someone points out that they specifically argue that in the document, we learn he surrendered himself to the police, confirming that it was not messages from a trans lover, as was previously said, who turned him in, and not the work of the FBI. It's just crazy. We live in a time where the FBI cannot be trusted at all. So I don't, maybe some people will listen to that and they'll be like, you trusted the FBI. I think on some level we could trust the good work of the FBI. And it's like stuff like this. Like, this is a small thing, but it's a big deal that they were lying to us about how they caught him. And then when the evidence came out, because they actually want to convict this person, they can't lie. Then we realize that the FBI, Kash Patel, and the rest of them were making stuff up just to make this as bad as possible. Anyways, we will be following this. It's not going to go away. We're going to keep following this. I do believe there is something going on here. We got to figure out what it is. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit like in the video. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We are almost at 900,000 subscribers. Crazy. And then I will see you soon. Bye.